You won't believe how far an HOA will go when they think they own more than they actually do. In today's story, an HOA ordered me to tear down the front gate on my own property because they claimed it blocked community access. What they didn't expect was that instead of giving in, I doubled down and made that gate stronger than ever. Before we dive in, let me know in the comments where you're watching this video from. I love seeing people tune in from all over the world. The story begins with me living just outside the borders of a fancy HOA-controlled neighborhood. My land had been in my family for decades, long before the neighborhood even existed. I owned several acres of open space, a farmhouse, and a large gate at the front of my driveway that connected to the main road. That gate was more than just an entry point. It was a symbol of privacy, security, and boundaries. For years, nobody questioned it. People passed by, minded their own business, and respected the fact that I didn't belong to the HOA across the road. But that peace ended the moment a new HOA president, the infamous Karen, took charge. She was determined to expand her authority beyond her actual reach. To her, the idea of my property standing independent of her rules was unacceptable. One morning, I received a formal letter from the HOA board. It declared that my front gate was an obstruction to community access and demanded that I remove it within 30 days. The letter even warned that failure to comply would result in escalating fines and legal action. At first, I laughed at the audacity. My gate wasn't blocking anyone's access, it simply marked the boundary of my own driveway. Yet Karen seemed to believe that because her neighborhood was nearby, she had some claim over how my land was managed. Things escalated quickly. Neighbors from the HOA began walking right up to my gate, rattling it and muttering how it was ugly and out of step with community aesthetics. Some even went as far as to suggest they had a right to use my driveway as a shortcut to avoid traffic. It was ridiculous. Instead of backing down, I did my homework. I pulled out my deed, my property survey, and even checked with the county office. Everything confirmed what I already knew. The land, the gate, and the driveway were entirely mine. The HOA had zero jurisdiction. But Karen didn't care about facts. Within weeks, she sent a crew of contractors claiming they were there to evaluate my gate for removal. I intercepted them before they could so much as lift a tool. That was the moment I realized this battle wasn't going away unless I sent a very clear message. So I made a plan. If Karen wanted my gate gone, I'd upgrade it instead. I hired professionals to install a reinforced wrought iron gate twice the size of the old one. It came with an electronic access system, security cameras, and floodlights. On either side, I added solid stone pillars engraved with my family name. What was once a simple gate now looked like the entrance to a fortress. When the new gate was unveiled, the HOA members lost their minds. Karen showed up with a clipboard, screaming about how I was defying community standards. She threatened fines, lawsuits, and even claimed she could get the sheriff to force me to remove it. The only problem was, she couldn't. I wasn't under her authority, and the sheriff confirmed it when he visited to shut down her complaints. But the fallout didn't stop there. Karen had spent so much of the HOA's budget on legal letters, threats, and petty contractor visits that members of her own neighborhood turned against her. People were furious that their fees were being wasted on a fight she couldn't win. Meanwhile, I enjoyed my new gate fully secured and standing tall. Neighbors who once tried to use my land as a shortcut were forced to face the fact that they had no claim to it. Even the local news caught wind of the drama, running a story on how an HOA overstepped its boundaries and ended up humiliated. Karen eventually stepped down as HOA president after pressure from her own community. The rest of the board quietly stopped bothering me, realizing they had no legal ground to stand on. In the end, not only did I keep my gate, but I also upgraded it to the point where it became a landmark in the area. The lesson was clear. When you know your rights and stand firm, no amount of HOA bluster can take away what's rightfully yours.